Hi there, this is Debbie Anderson, and today I'm here to talk with you about my number one myth about abusers. When I was in a relationship with my narcissistic partner, I used to try and figure out endlessly why and where his problems came from. I somehow thought if I could figure this out, it would help me. My number one misconception about why he abused me was this. He was abused as a child. Let me repeat that. My number one misconception about why he abused me was that he was abused as a child. I actually thought that the roots of his abusiveness could be found in the treatment he suffered himself in childhood. I tried to figure out why he did what he did, and specifically why he did what he did to me. I thought, he calls me names, he says terrible things to me because of the physical abuse and the emotional abuse he received as a child. I thought I had it all figured out, and it seemed to be a good explanation as to why he would treat me abusively. I thought, until I looked at the research, that this was the explanation. However, the research showed that men who were violent towards other men were often victims of child abuse. A bad childhood does not cause a man to become an abuser, but it can contribute to making a man who is abusive, especially a dangerous one. But if abusiveness were the product of childhood emotional injury, the abuser would overcome their problems through psychotherapy. However, it's virtually unheard of for an abusive man to make any lasting or substantial changes in his pattern of abusiveness as a result of the therapy that he's done. He and I went to therapy together. We tried 2 different therapists. One he fired because he didn't like him and he didn't agree with what he was saying. And the second one told me that I had a problem with communication. My toxic partner would also only see a therapist who was of the male gender. I remember how satisfied he felt when he was reminded in therapy about the new excuses and the sophisticated arguments for his behavior to prove that I was the one that was unstable, and to learn more creative ways to make me feel responsible for my own emotional distress. Also, he told me his mother was physically abusive with him. She hit him with spoons until they broke, wooden spoons, neglected him 1 minute and yelled at him the next. Of course, by focusing on what the mother, a woman, did wrong, he got to blame her for his mistreatment and accept no responsibility at all for anything he did. He would also put himself in the therapist's role, adopting popular psychology terms. He would speak to me like I was a child, telling me how I needed to work through my emotional issues, or analyze my reasons for mistakenly believing that he was mistreating me. He would, of course, use his best condescending tone and say this with a very soft-spoken voice. Even if my abusive partner was abused as a child, he does deserve compassion, but it does not, and did not excuse his abusive treatment of me. Something to think about. If he was so in touch with his feelings from his abusive childhood, then he should know what abuse feels like and remember how miserable he felt to be put in fear, cut down to nothing, be told everything was wrong, and that everything that was wrong was his fault. Then he would actually be less likely, not more likely, to abuse me. I no longer believe the misconception that the reason he abused me was that he was abused as a child. And even if he was abused as a child, which is unfortunate and heartbreaking, and he deserves the same compassion that a non-abusive man does, a non-abusive man doesn't use his past as an excuse to mistreat anyone. I hope you might have found this of use and of help in some way, and I will talk to you the next time.